This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Have you been struggling lately? Maybe you're having trouble sleeping, difficulty with the relationship, or just suffering from self doubt. Now, y'all know there's no shame in my game, and life has been lifing lately. Trying to manage the priorities of being a wife, mom, friend, and full time entrepreneur, it can get overwhelming. If this sounds like you, then BetterHelp wants to help you today. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and help you. Talk to a therapist in a private online environment at your convenience. There are over 20,000 therapists in BetterHelp's network, which gives you access to help that may not be available in your area. All you have to do is fill out a questionnaire to assess your specific needs, and then you get matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. How cool is that? Then you schedule secure video and phone sessions. Plus, you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. You can also request a new therapist anytime at no additional charge. Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced therapist from BetterHelp. There's a special offer to the Slaying Self Doubt podcast listeners. You get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/slang. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/slang, SLAYING. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. You're listening to the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast with Coach Felicia, where we empower Black women to overcome their doubts, fears, and insecurities in order to give birth to their God-given purpose. Join me and sometimes some of my friends on our journey as we remind you that you are not alone. I'm Felicia Wallace, and together we will find our fears and slay them. Hey Slayers, welcome back to another episode of the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast. It's your girl, Coach Felicia. We are back. I am late. I know we'll get into that a little bit later. But however you guys found us, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. I'm glad that you are on this journey. I hope you are getting something from it. If you are, if you have some suggestions, if you have some things you would like for me to talk about, please email me at info@slayingselfdoubt.com. Yeah, we can go ahead and figure out how we get your topic, your subject on the podcast. Because it's not only my journey, but it's your journey too. And so I want to make sure that we're discussing things that that are important to you as well. While you're listening to this episode, or if you're watching this on YouTube, please remember to share, share, share. I need you to share with at least 10 people. If you know 20, share with them. Share with your social media networks, all of that. We're trying to reach 100,000 downloads this year. And so I need your help. So I need you all to do that. If you have been listening to the podcast, I have been telling you guys that finally something that I have been holding on for a while that I just, my own self-doubt was, kicking me a little bit and just keeping me in this space. But I finally launched the Using the Power of Your Voice eGuide. It is an ebook to help you start your podcast. Over the last 4 years of me podcasting, I've had numerous people come to me they needed help with their podcast. And to be honest, sometimes it would be like, oh, can I just ask you if you're going, yeah, sure, and it was something I was fighting for a while. Like I just kept saying, I don't understand why people keep asking me. Like, why is it that this seems to be the thing that keeps coming back? And then as I was thinking about 2023 and this is the year of doing and things that we needed to do, God revealed to me that you've been sitting on this thing that I told you about years ago and you keep playing around. So the link is in the show notes. It is on the website. It is in the bio on the social media platforms. Purchase it if you know that God is calling you to start a podcast and you specifically, this is anybody can read it, but I just want you to know this is specifically for the person who knows that God is telling them to start a podcast and you are looking for additional confirmation. This is it. Purchase the eGuide and get it going, okay? Um, Y'all, I told y'all we got some dope guest episodes coming up. Have been out here interviewing people, and even with that being said, y'all, I have been on some amazing podcasts as well. And so I want to share those with y'all. I think I'm going to probably put them on the website so that you can go listen to some of my episodes. Like, where have I been featured? Right? I know y'all be listening to me on here, but I want to be able to put that out there because there's a lot of places that I've realized over this last week, I one of my goals for quarter 2 was to pitch myself to 10 podcasts to be a guest. And so I did that the other day, and I am so glad that I did. One, I got it off my list early. Two, as the responses were coming in, even though I was feeling anxious about it, y'all know I told y'all this trick before. I write the emails and I set them on schedule send. And so I think I wrote the emails on Thursday and I scheduled them for Monday. So when Monday came and I started getting these replies, I literally forget about it. Like I'd be like, what? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I did send somebody. So I do that on purpose. Like I do like a few days out so that I'm not stressing over like, oh, did somebody get it? Did they respond? Did they so but I was proud that I did that for myself because a lot of times, like, this is easy, right? Doing this is easy because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But I know that God is calling me to use my voice in other places and on other platforms. So I got to do the work. So that was a part of the doing, right? So I said earlier, I know that I'm late. This has everything to do with this topic. So it is very interesting because the Lord works in mysterious ways how it all kind of goes together, right? So today we're going to talk about saying yes to God and to yourself. And so y'all know that normally I tell y'all, okay, Saturdays I be it be down to the wire, y'all, for real. Like I'd be like, oh, Saturday, 3 o'clock. I need to record an episode. And a lot of times, I just be procrastinating, like for real. Like literally the second episode of this entire podcast was called procrastination, right? So I want y'all to know me and procrastination go way back, right? And I am working on it. However, life and life's demands keep getting bigger, right? And so when that happens, a lot of times I have a tendency to do the thing that I can do at that very moment that doesn't require like 85 other steps after that, right? So for instance, recording this episode, yes, as simple as it is to sit in front of a mic and talk for 25 to 30 minutes, that's nothing. Like I can do that. Like that's the light work, right? It's the stuff that comes after that. It is the editing, it is the scheduling, it is the social media stuff, it is the making sure all the things are done that takes up my time and being as though that I'm literally doing 80, like if it feels like I'm overwhelmed with so many things in running a business, doing a podcast, being a full-time wife, being a full-time mom, working a part-time job, wanting being a woman who wants to be able to spend time with her husband, spend time with her friends, things of that sort. Like I feel like things are competing for my time, right? And a lot of times, more often than I would like for them to, like the things that I feel like, oh, this can wait, I push it back. So it's always the same thing. Like I'll go through the week and I'll be like, I need to record an episode, I need to record. And there's so many people that are very diligent and like, this is the day we're going to do this. And I used to say that didn't work for me, right? But I am learning that the more you say something isn't happening or something doesn't work for you, it ain't gonna work, right? But in correlation to that today's episode, if this is a God thing, when I say no to it, I'm saying no to him. Like this is the tool, the avenue, the thing, my staff, the thing that is in my hand that he has said, this is what you're going to use to do my work. So for me to set it down to be like, I can do it later. It's not that important. That's not I'm already being disobedient, right? It doesn't seem like it. And I know that's a word for somebody, right? It's a word for somebody because God is telling you to do something. And I just felt that in my spirit because I don't think I realized that until just right now when I said it out loud that Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing, right? God has given me something. He has given us something that he wants us to utilize to do the work that he is calling us to do. And we are saying, I don't have time. And at the same time, we're saying, Lord, where's all the stuff you promised me? Right. And so all of this month, remember, we're talking about the 4 tips to slay your self doubt. So we started with surrender. That is releasing, let go and let God, right? That's taking your hand off the wheel. That is going with the flow. Remember, we talked about floating with the water and just letting your, like, just trusting that God is going to do what he's going to do, right? The second week, we talk about loyalty to the process. And in that, we talked about the steps of how you even get to loyalty, right? Surrendering to the journey. The second thing is the loyalty to the process, and all the things is going to come once you do this that I'm saying. Once you say yes, right? You the trust that gets to the so the trust that you're going to have to be loyal to the process is based on God's consistency, reliability, and your faith in him, right? And then last week we talked about taking action. Like, you can say all day, I trust him, I believe him, I know he's going to do blah blah blah, and I believe this thing is going to happen. But if I'm not taking any action on my part, he's waiting on us. And so today is so it all ties together, right? Because if we're talking about saying yes to God and yourself, you have to say yes to him first. And so I know that I said yes to him. There would be no Slaying Self Doubt podcast. There would be no Slaying Self Doubt if I did not say yes to him, right? I am partly doing the work, but at the same time, I am saying, yeah, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it when I feel like it. I'm going to do it when I am feeling my best. I'm going to do it when I have the time. When, again, like I said, this is the thing that he's given me to do the work that he's called me to do. And so you can't just be like, I don't have time for this right now, I'm gonna have to do it later. You are being disobedient. This is the thing that has to happen. And if this is so if my very first point for today is that in saying yes, you have to obey God's instruction, right? And that is saying yes to him, which means that I can't choose not to do this. It has to be a priority. I remember Ray Roberts did a sermon, and he was like, everything has to be like, is this about my father's business? Like, I'm about my father's business, right? Is this about my father? Is what I'm doing about my father's business? If it's not about that, then it comes secondary, right? And so in this season that I'm in right now, I have all these things going on. And that's not to say that, like, being married is not my father's business or a priority, or being a wife is not a priority, or being a mother and all of those things are not priorities. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that everything can't be a priority at the same time. It can't be. And so we are going to have to, in this journey and in, because all of these things, when you say yes to a whole bunch of stuff, or not saying yes to a whole bunch of stuff, when you're delaying, and you, even if you are saying yes to a whole bunch of stuff and you're trying to do the most with everything and touching all the things, and remember I said, like, open tab syndrome, you're going to the thing that's not happening, the thing that's not moving, the thing that God promised you that's not moving, you're going to end up having doubt about it, right? You're going to end up being like, well, this was supposed to move on its own. This was supposed to do the remember last week we talked about getting in the car, right? You can start the car, you can put your seatbelt on, fix the mirrors, all that stuff, turn the music on. But if you don't push the gas, then it's not going anywhere, right? The same thing goes in this with this situation. Like, if God has given you something and you're not taking any action towards it, and you're not making it a priority, then guess what? It's not going to go anywhere, right? It's not and you have to figure out what is lacking, or what are the things that's stopping you from doing it. For me personally, some of it is just, it is my schedule, but some of it is also just discipline. It's like saying, no, I'm not going to do this right now. I can say for certain there were a few times last week where I chose, because everything we do is a choice. I chose to be like, I'm gonna just do it tomorrow, and instead I'm going to lay down. Was I tired? I really was. I have been exercising, and anybody that knows that when you just get started and yeah, you're doing strength training, all of that stuff, child, you be tired by like 1 o'clock. You be out of it. In the beginning, you got all this energy, and it's good for you. Is my heart is enjoying it. However, like when you start to like, oh gosh, I just need to take a nap, and I am not a part of the nap ministry because I don't like the way I feel after them. I always feel groggy, and I don't ever go back to sleep like my regular sleep time. So with that being said, I tend to like when I come on here, I want to give y'all my full energy. I want to show up. I don't want it to be dry. I don't want it to be, just whack. You gonna be like, girl, what's going on with you, right? And so like right now, if I had to gauge my energy level after working out, going to the grocery store, coming in here, making something to eat, washing my hair, all these is starting dinner. Like it's literally 1 o'clock in the afternoon, right? I've done probably like 8 things prior to sitting down to record this episode. My energy level is probably at a 75. Can I push it through to just get the show done? I absolutely can. But it shouldn't be like that. I really need to be in a place where I say, okay, on this day of the week, I'm saying yes to this, right? Because this is the thing that God wants me to do. This is my purpose, right? And so we have to create that space and that time for that, right? So that's the first thing, obeying God's instruction. Um, Number two, take care of yourself first, right? We, when you're on this journey and you're living in purpose, we can't be, I'm living proof of this, as I just told you, we can't be out here doing everything for everybody and putting us last, right? If you need to rest, rest. Like if I need to take a nap, baby, I'm going to bed, right? But if I can be like, oh, let me just get through the day, get through the day, get through the day, then I'm okay. I can get to the other side of it, and I'll be like, all right, good. I'm going to bed at 7, right? Because I'm tired. But the thing about it is that when you don't take care of you first, all those other things that you're responsible for, they're lacking. When we get on planes, what do they say? If in case of emergency, if the oxygen joint come out the ceiling, you have to put your mask on first. You can't help me if you can't breathe. I can't help my kids if I can't breathe. I can't help my kids if I don't have the lung capacity to even put the mask over their face, let alone help the person next to them and maybe the person behind me. We out here, you hear people all the time it's like, people supposed to get your overflow, but people don't understand what that really means, right? You think it's like I heard it explained to me like you think it's the top, like at the top of the cup. No, the cup is for you. That's your cup. People supposed to get your salsa, right? Whatever's on that salsa underneath the little, the little plate that's underneath is called a salsa. Um, but whatever is it, that's what other people get. So if as you're pouring in, somebody is sipping off the top and there's multiple people just eventually guess what, you're still going to be drained because the energy is too much. You are is too much happening at the same time. You need to be fully whole so that people can get the remainder of your wholeness, right? And so that means that you have to determine what it is you need to say yes to. What does it look like for you to say yes to yourself first? Does it mean you need uh days where you go to the spa, you get a pedicure, or maybe it's retail therapy, maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need to go to therapy. Maybe it's watching TV, maybe it's walking outside, maybe it's listening to some music, maybe it's I don't know, cooking, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's hanging out with your friends. I don't know. You really need to make a list of the things that you need. A lot of times for us, specifically as women that are moms, that are moms and wives, but even without being a wife, but just a mom, as soon as you become a mom, you automatically put yourself second. I don't know why. It's the kind of, like it's just in us that we just do it like, oh no, don't worry about it. I mean, it comes down to, even for me, like if my kids is eating like crazy. I think I shared on this before, and I'll be like, y'all go ahead and eat. I'll eat later, right? And my husband will be like, no, just get. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna just eat these greens, or I'm gonna just eat some grapes, or, and it's like, girl, you need your energy for tomorrow to take these kids to school. You need your energy for later on when you have a podcast or a client, or a Bible study, or you need your energy to go to date night with your husband. Like you need your energy for you, period. But here we are saying like, oh, it's just so good for me to just lay on my sword all the time and be like, oh, I can't do it. Just don't, just take it. I'll do it. I'll do it. Like there's no joy in that. There's no joy in that, and nobody really gets the best version of you when you keep falling on your sword. You have to choose you, and I'm learning that every single day. I am learning every day. But say yes to yourself. Get up, go for a walk, even if it's 30 minutes. This is when I had a haircut appointment. I had to go drop the kids off. I went, was like, all I got is 30 minutes. Guess what? For real, they say all you really need to walk is 10 minutes now. You shouldn't. You should do a little, just a little tad bit more. But I'm like, if I can give 30 minutes a day for, if I could give myself 30 minutes a day when everybody else gets so much more of me, I deserve that, right? And again, even that's, so those are daily things. So last week we talked about daily actions. That's a daily action. Give yourself 30 minutes of peace and quiet for yourself, whatever that looks like. When I'm walking, I'm listening to sometimes a sermon, I'm listening to worship music. That is my time. Me and God are just like wrapping it up, right? And I appreciate that. I walk away feeling so much grace, and I'm grateful for the day. I'm grateful for my the abilities I had to be able to walk and all those things. Like it is definitely a gratitude moment for me and the Lord. And so learning to take care of myself has been something that I have just had to intentionally do, because it's easy for you to fall by the wayside, right? And so even as it pertains to recording the podcast, like this is also taking care of me because I enjoy doing it. I love it. I literally, like, I'm always just like, I can't believe I get to do this for a living, right? Like I enjoy it so much that I want to be able to do it. I have so many ideas of things I want to be able to do. This fills my love tank, right? And so I can't at the same time. So if it's taking care of me and it's obeying God's instruction, it shouldn't be pushed to the back burner, right? And so then that's the one and two. The last one, I know y'all, I kind of said it, but I was trying to save it, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. Uh you need to know who you are called to serve, right? As women, mothers, if you are a wife, you're called to serve your husband. If you're a mother, you're called to serve your kids. If you are an entrepreneur, you're called to serve your clients. If you are an employee, you are called to serve your employer. If you are in ministry, you are called to serve those who you are serving. Volunteer, whoever you're called to serve. Like there's so many parts of us where we are everything that we're doing is external. We are giving of ourselves, right? In some capacity, some greater than others. But we also have to know that everything ain't for us. We have to know you can't do all things all the time. And you can't try to be a superhero. You can't be in everybody's business. You can't be as immediately as somebody say something like, "Oh, I got it. Let's go do this. Let's do this." I'm not saying that when things come up, you shouldn't be there for people and that you shouldn't um make sure that your presence is being known. But what I am saying is that it cannot be at the detriment to you. If you know you don't have a desire to do something, don't force yourself to do it. If you know you don't have the capacity to do something, don't force yourself to do it. If you know that ain't nobody asked you to do it, but you volunteered anyway, don't force yourself to do it. If you know you ain't supposed to do it, don't do it. Don't force yourself to do it. There's so many things that we put ourselves in, and child, we just be like, but who asked you? That should be the question that you ask yourself. Did this person ask me to help them? Did this person ask me to show up? Did this person ask me to save them? Did this person ask me for my advice or my help? No, they didn't. So what are you doing? Sometimes you just need to be a listening ear and let that thing go in one ear out the other. I've said this before. I learned from a colleague of mine to care and not carry. A lot of times we are carrying other people's stuff, and we are out here drained of our energy and the things that are meant for us. We can't do those things because we're carrying everybody else's stuff. Even in this situation of, with the podcast and putting things off over the years, right? I'm not saying that this is the current situation, but over the years, sometimes it's been that, oh, my kids needed certain stuff. And I was like, okay, let me take care of them. And then I'll get back to this. But then once I've given them, if I'm at 75 and now I'm giving you 50, all I got is 25. And that 25% is like, mm, am I about to record? No, I don't feel like it. I'm gonna do it tomorrow, right? That's how it is. Instead of saying, I can't do that, ask your father. Or make it yourself. Or are you asking me to do something, or are you just wanted to let me know? Right. There's those are the conversations that you sometimes, my husband used to be like, I can't read your mind. If you need something, you need to say it. And I used to feel like, well, why? We both can see that we all need to eat. Why would I ask you for dinner? Well, because you're accustomed to me doing it, right? The same way I'm accustomed to you cutting the grass. Well, don't ask me because I'm allergic, but I'm gonna walk right past the grass every single time. It will never, nothing will ever click in my head to say, I need to cut this grass. Absolutely not, right? And so when you are comfortable with somebody and you're accustomed to them doing that, it is not within your, like, you're not even thinking about it, right? But if I'm in a space where I need help, I need to open my mouth and ask for help. I can't continue. That's a part of, so that is also a part of saying yes, is asking for help. And I know, even as entrepreneurs, it is a difficult thing because it's yours, it's your baby. You don't want nobody touching it. You don't want nobody swallowing it. You don't want nobody holding it, putting your baby to sleep. None of that. You like, I don't even want nobody touching this. I got it. Don't you even worry about it. But we need help. Even in this season of my life, I'm like, there are things that I want to be able to do that I cannot do by myself. And so I am going to have to relinquish some control over things going the way I think they should go, right? But this goes back to obeying God's instruction, because have I actually been doing what it is that God called me to do? Have I actually been doing what it is I'm supposed to be doing? And I we have to be honest about that. We have to be honest about if that is actually happening. And so you have to, but you have to be clear about what it is you need to show up for, who you need to show up for. Because if you are spending all your energy in a different space, right? If you are spending your energy in a relationship that no, I don't even know why are we here, right? If you are in a friendship that you're still like, why are we here? If you are in a job that you're wondering, why are we here, right? Sometimes even in saying yes, it's having to do hard things. It's having, sometimes saying yes to yourself means saying no to other things. And that is absolutely what you have to do. You have to, in order to say yes to yourself, you have to say no to the things that don't serve you. And that could be person, place, or thing. Places sometimes don't serve you. I can't be in that area no more because the energy that, no, I don't like the way I feel there, right? People, I can't. In order for me to pick me, I can't with you, right? things. It could be habits. It could be, I like TV. Me. That's my thing, right? But there's sometimes where I be like, I really would like to just do this all day long, but I had to find a better way, right? And still be productive. And I think that that's the thing. Like we ultimately, like I said at the beginning of this, if you have been listening to these episodes of the month of April, the times, the things that I have said that you've been like, this is what's holding me back. If you do all four of these things on a consistent basis every day you need to surrender to the journey. Every day you need to be loyal to the process. Every day you need to take daily action. Every day you have to say yes to yourself and God. Those four things is not like a one time, I'm done. That's it. Every day you have to do those things. Do it have to be in that order? It should be, but it might not be. Because you're surrendering your maybe your yes comes first. I don't know. It doesn't need to be in that order, but that is how it needs to be done on a daily basis. Because then eventually you will get consistent enough that the next time something hard comes up, you already know, like, oh, this is a part of the journey. I got it. Right. I don't need to take 4 steps back. That's what's been the issue. The issue is that because we have this doubt, because we already feel like we are not qualified to do the thing God called us to do, because we already feel like we're not worthy. Not saying that you're not, because your value is in God. Your value is in the fact that He even gave it to you. You're worthy because He told you, this is what I want you to. You know how many people walk around not knowing what their gift is? You know how many people walk around that really, really, really want to know what I like. The amount of women that I have talked to is like, I think this is it. I'm not 100% sure. And legit, I'm over here sometimes playing around, right? I am playing around with the potential that I have. My pastor said over the weekend, we are living below our privilege. Pastor Keith Battle said that. You're living below your privilege because we're not intentionally seeking what it is that God wants for us. And so that's not his fault. That's not God's fault. That's our fault because we're putting limitations on him because we're not willing to do the things that we're not willing to make the sacrifices. Because surrendering to the journey means I can't do the same things anymore. I can't go to the same places. Loyalty to the process means it's going to get hard. It might even get dark. I might even be lonely. Taking action means I'm gonna have to be consistent and disciplined and I might have to do the same thing every day for 365 days. Saying it yes to yourself means I can't be in this friendship no more. I can't be in this relationship no more. This is the person I thought I was supposed to marry. How is it that now you want me to say sorry, Nara, to them, right? It is I've said this, I say this from the jump. It's not gonna be easy. It's going to be work, but the results are going to be on the other side of this, right? And they're going to be greater than your fears. It's going to be greater than your doubt. It's going to be greater than your insecurity. Like the result of you being obedient and following what it is that God has for you is going to be so different. And again, as I tell y'all, when I talk to you all, I'm talking to myself. I'm literally reminding myself of these things as I'm telling you because it's easy for you to get distracted. It's easy for things to be going well and for you to be having fun. And it's about to be summer. And so when we get outside, we act like, oh, Lord, I come holler at you in the fall. And he's saying, I don't operate like that. So you can act like you don't know what you're supposed to do all summer. You can act like you're not clear about what the assignment is. I'm gonna move on to the next person until you serious about it. I'm, I'm not leaving you, but you're gonna have to come back to me. And then that's when that you've been in that season where you feel like the Lord ain't talking to you, and it seems like He's ignoring you. No, 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 no. That's not what's happening. What it is He's saying you playing. And I need to be dealing with the people that's about my father's business. That's why you're able to see Sheila over there who started something else completely different and her joint moving faster than yours. And you like, but I've been doing this for 5 years. But you playing though. That's what's happening. You're playing. So what I'm saying is that let us all, including myself, stop playing and let's use these 4 things to slay ourselves out every single day. So let's run it back for the last time. Surrender. Surrender to the journey. Let it go. Stop fighting it. Give it to God. Let him do what he gonna do. Number 2, loyalty to the process. You gotta be loyal when ain't nobody else being loyal to you. You gotta hold it down and you gotta do everything that God tell you to do in the way he tells you to do it instead of trying to do it your way and trying to do it quicker. If he tell you that you need to journal every day for the next 90 days, then you need to do that. If he tells you you need to pray and fast for the next 30 days, you need to do that. If he tells you you can't hang out all summer because he has something else he wants you to do, you need to do that. If he tell you no drinking, no partying, no hanging out with that set of friends, not even a little bit, you need to be loyal to the process. Number 3, action. You have to take action every single day. Whatever the action is that's moving you towards that thing that God has told you to do. This is the thing that's moving you towards that thing. You have to take action every single day. And so what does that look like? What could that look like? That could look like sending an email every day. That could look like walking if it's your health journey. That could look like meal prepping. That could look like hiring help. That could look like reading your Bible, doing your devotionals. It whatever it is that's moving you towards that thing, taking a class, right? Applying for the grant. Jesus, applying for the scholarship, applying for the position, that is an action. There's stuff that you can do every single day. Not everything's not gonna be big. Some of it might be finishing your water, right? But those are though you got to do it. And then the fourth thing is yes, yes, and yes. Saying yes to God and doing again what he's supposed to, what you're supposed to do, and obeying it when he says to do it. I told you before, Pastor Battle said the key to obedience is speed. Okay, you give yourself too long to think about it, you're gonna talk yourself out of it. And then taking care of yourself first. What are the things that I need to say yes to myself? Well, how do I take care of myself? How do I make sure that I'm serving the people I'm called to serve? Who needs to go? Who needs to go? I've told y'all before, I pray this prayer often. Lord, remove the people who no longer serve me. In my experience, he's done it multiple times. So as far as I'm concerned, and sometimes we get so worried about what's going to child, they will dissipate on their own and it'll be just fine. You guys, as always, thank you so much for rocking with me. I really do hope that this was helpful for you guys. I hope that you all learned something over these last few weeks. Um, and I hope that you really take this information to heart and you really do the necessary work that you need to do to slay yourself out. Like again, we're talking about slang. Slang is it is an action. This whole movement is action that we have to continue to take so that we can get to the place that God has for us. If you enjoy this podcast and you find it valuable, please consider buying me a coffee, which is making a donation to support me to create new content, get a new podcast studio, and reach more people because that is I'm trying to get a studio so that we can start doing big things. Y'all already know Jesus and therapy. Take charge of your mental health and get 10% off your first month of therapy at betterhelp.com/slaying SLAYING. Make sure you subscribe to the Slayer Nation newsletter. That is where you'll get updates, you'll get exclusive things, you will find out about events and stuff that we're doing first before it goes on social media. Please share this episode with at least 10 people. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram at Slaying Self Doubt. Until next week, see ya. All right, y'all, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review. Remember to head over to Facebook and Instagram and follow me at Slaying Self Doubt. Oh, wait, don't forget, go to my YouTube channel and watch this episode, and remember to press the subscribe button. Until next week, see ya.